Hello everyone, and now welcome to game 3 in this best of 3 series. A real back and forth game, not even in the endings of the games, but really in each game in particular. What I mean by that is, in each game and at each moment, it really felt like one player could have taken the advantage and gone for the win. Now, as we do move on into game 3, this final game of a best of 3 series, what can we expect to see from either of these players? We have seen, however, Snute, who is spawning as the blue Zerg player on the bottom left-hand side of the map, really favors a strong macro. Even if he wins his game, even if he wins this game, I expect him to be on the losing end in terms of resources. Now, what does that mean coming in from the STC? That means I expect the STC to be playing at a very high level and trading extremely efficiently, getting every mineral and making it count. Who's going to be able to do more? It's, I guess, two different mentalities in terms of just warfare, making every unit count or trying to make some magic happen and just overwhelming your opponent. Now, we already see STC opening up with a rather unusual strategy here. We do not have a drone making its way over by Snute, though, so Snute is not going to catch this Proxy 2 racks. Proxy 2 racks, an oldie but a goodie of a strategy from this oldie but a goodie of a replay from the WCS during the earlier stages. And if a drone was to come inside and scout inside here, he would quickly notice that the number of SCVs is rather low. This is important. This is extremely important when you're trying to scout. Not only do you look at your buildings, you look at the mineral line. You can see that there is only, I believe, 11 SCVs there compared to the 13 or the 15 some odd drones here. That is a visual difference. Meanwhile, an SCV now going to be making its way over, 2 SCVs making its way over, and is it going to be placing down a bunker? Let's see. The SCV is going to be positioning it right there. There is one bunker already, and a second bunker could be coming in. As there is already a Marine. The spawning pool is a little bit late, and that means that drones will need to be pulled. SCVs are being brought over as well by the STC, and this is going to be some big news. All right, off to the back here. That hatchery is taking a little bit of damage. A new bunker now being built on the top side as well. Drones may be brought over as a spine crawler is now being added. The spine crawler does not have an additional +2 armor while it is being built here, as the SCVs and the Marines are working together. This very early pressure. Why is that being canceled? I'm not 100% sure, as the Zerglings, what is going on here? The Zerglings and the SCVs are now just all pretty much fighting, just vying for attention here. We can see that a second bunker is being placed down, as we are already going to be getting into more and more Marines. It looks as though 2 SCVs will be left behind here, wanting to make sure that this one hatchery does not get completed. SCVs even adding a fusion cutter into that little bit of damage, and now trying to do a little bit of scouting up on the high ground. All right, this hatchery already down to 600 some odd hit points and counting. This is going to be very bad news here, as we are now looking. Oh, this Marine taking some damage now switches off to the north and is now attacking this hatchery. That hatchery is taking a bit of damage here. SCVs, could they try and repair it? It could try and repair. Is it going to really matter, as the SCVs are now trying to surround? It looks as though all of those broodlings are going to fall here without any real problem. And now going after the creep tumor. Beautifully done, making sure that creep does not stay down here on the low part of the map. Nicely played here. You can see that there are Marines, the full hit point Marines, trying to engage a little bit of stutter step action using the maximum of that 5 range. One Marine does get caught just beyond the edge there. We have now 5 Marines against the Zerglings. The Zerglings are trying to pull together, trying to come together here, as the Marines are now going to be running back. Are they going to be... Oh, beautiful play by STC, transferring the Marines from the further, or the closer bunker to the further one instantaneously, just so that the units can continue to make their way out. All right, there is a queen in position. That queen quickly gets shot down there, and now we are going to have a group of Marines up on the high ground. All right, those Marines doing in a little bit of a dance here. We are both sitting on 1 base each on both sides. STC, what's going to be happening next? You can see that there are Marines inside these bunkers, and now perhaps an SCV can come up here, set up a bunker on the high ground, or make some sort of play happen. All right, STC knows when to end a good thing, and that is right now. He's going to be ending that good thing right about now. As you can see, the queen really wants to try and shoot down or to snipe down that one particular bunker. Hasn't been able to do so. You can see that the Zerglings are now wandering around here. Banelings have been spotted. And with that, what is the STC's follow-up play going to be? All right, there's a queen up on the high ground there. It looks as though it's just going to be able to absorb a whole bunch of damage. Nope, it is not going to absorb any damage. There goes one Baneling. The Marines pulling back to another one, and then perhaps going to try and pull back to a third bunker again. No, SCVs are repairing. It looks as though this one bunker is still going to hang on ever so barely, dealing a whole tremendous amount of damage. And after that, Snute is going to clean up all of these units here. The Zerg has lost tremendously more and is also in terms behind 23 SCVs compared to 16 drones. And this is one of the weaknesses of Zerg. Zerg needs plenty of larvae in order to stay inside the game. If he doesn't have a lot of larvae, then he's not going to be able to do very much. Because he was constantly training up Zerglings in order to combat the rush, he doesn't have nearly as many drones as his opponent. 26 drones compared to 16, or 16 drones versus 26 SCVs. That is the sign there, as we are now looking at the Banelings crashing their way through. All right, the Banelings have made their way through, but not a very good hit there at all, as the one lone Hellion tries to fight all of this back. You can see SCVs are repairing at this bunker right there. Damage was dealt, and all that can really happen is that the Hellions are just going to clean up the rest of these Zerglings. 33 over 27 supply, as we are going to be seeing, I believe, more supply depots come into play in just a second. The Zerglings going after a free SCB given away by the STC, as this command center will now be finished. All right, bunkers all over the place. Double factories, still no starport, and I don't believe we even have Blue Flame being researched just quite yet. Hatchery coming into play, but Snute, is he strong enough to adapt to this particular playstyle? Even though he's not going to be able to follow his build order perfectly, does he have enough practice here, and does he have enough in him to get back into this game, even though he is down 6 workers and also down a production building right now in terms of workers? So far, we can see that this one hatchery working overtime, training up not only drones, but also training up units as well. We may start to see a transition into roaches to deal with all of these Hellions. Meanwhile, there are Zerglings out across the map. The Hellions are going to try and find and catch those Zerglings off guard. Hasn't been able to do much there, as the Hellions are now going to decide to back off. The hatchery is not done. The Hellions don't want to overcommit to any fight. If there isn't drones to kill, just go ahead and retreat back home, as these Zerglings will be arriving to the party very, very quickly. There you go. There is a handful of Zerglings going up against a handful of SCVs, and it looks as though, yes, they will all get taken down once more. So far, though, an Overlord off to the back here. The Hellions now looking for free Zerglings to take down, and now just doing a bit of scouting by the STC, checking every which corners of the map. Creep Tumor quickly shot down there, as Snute trying to re-establish map control and set up this all-important creep highway. All right, what can we see next from the players? STC had 2 options to go. He could either try to turn this into a longer economic game, or he can try to press his advantage and perhaps use tech. You can see a whole bunch of roaches are now making their way over, and I would have naturally thought that the STC would have wanted to continue with that high pressure. I thought he would have perhaps got into some Banshees or even some Siege Tanks as well. Siege Tank Hellion, a very, very common strategy, but maybe not when this particular game was played here. The roaches are just going to walk on in, take down these Hellions, but the Hellions are still doing a good job making sure that they are even on bases. Another Widow Mine now making its way over. Gonna burrow itself down over... No, gonna burrow itself off over here, acting as a little bit of a scout as well, as these Hellions want to try and defend this 12 o'clock location for another expansion. I don't know if that's going to be working anytime soon. We can see double factory, no tech labs. We are now going to be transitioning into, I believe, massive bio as we are getting up that starport. Snute now playing a very risky game, establishing an expansion in the center portion of the map. The reason why it is risky is this is a very difficult location to defend. And normally, in a place like this, oh wait, what's going on here? Roach is now chasing after all of these Marines. Normally, players just ignore this center expansion location because it is so difficult to defend. And with that, no one really scouts here. The problem also is that it is gold mineral patches, so if Snute is able to get this expansion up and running, it is going to greatly benefit him. You can see now the hatchery is going to start spewing that creep out towards the edges there, already connecting it down to that low ground, and there you have it. That hatchery is now done. What's going to be happening next? STC is taking this base here at the 12 o'clock location. Drones need to be transferred. How many drones will be transferred over? It looks like 10 for now, as both sides content with just trying to turn this more into an economic game. STC does have an 11 worker advantage. On top of that, he does have mules. However, Snute does have the bonus of the gold mineral patches. 11 workers though. These 6 gold mineral patches still not going to be enough, as we're looking at Zerglings waiting off in here. Are we going to see these units attack? Are we going to see the Zerglings now back off the Marines? May suspect no, are simply going to ignore that location, not suspecting that there's an expansion there. All right, the Zerglings know that there are Marines right here. There is that Widow Mine as well that has been sitting there for quite some time. Zerglings, all of us just getting destroyed, and STC still doesn't know about that expansion in the center. You can see that the Zerglings are now backing away again. Your Zerglings off over here, and there was a beautiful Baneling hit, I believe. Don't quite know where, but there was a huge hit there, but at the same time, the STC is still ahead. You can now see Marines, Marauders, 2 medevacs all working together. The front door has been closed shut. Zerglings unable to get through. Marines doing target practice against all of those Zerglings, as we're now looking to perhaps handle some of these Zerglings who are hiding in plain sight right there. It is 3 bases to 3. 10 drones working over here, and still need to perhaps get even more, as we are injecting and getting in a very strong economy. Income is still about a 500 difference between these two armies, as we're looking at STC just marching forward. If STC believes that there is an expansion here at the 6 o'clock position, he's going to be wasting much of his time. Meanwhile, the Marines are now fighting back against the bunkers here. SCV is trying to get away. There's a couple of good Baneling hits there, as the Zerglings perhaps should be trying to take down SCVs. Yeah, STC thinking that there was an expansion at the 6 o'clock location. Quickly checked it, doesn't see anything. Now still making his way off to the north. Meanwhile, back off to the north here, the Zerglings unable to get a good surround on that bunker. The 3 Marines inside able to do target practice, and there's the GG by Snute, as STC was able to walk his way in and finish things off. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this best of 3 series. STC taking down Liquid Snute 2-1.